Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. You can see I'm joined by one of my favourites. It's only Dan from the Danalists. How are we, sir? Are you well?
Good, Savva. Big up, Savva. Big up, chat. Hope everyone's doing well this Friday morning.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope you're all doing better than my hair. I promise you, it's not that I'm making a lack of effort from you. I'm on my way to the barbers as soon as this finishes. Apologies that I look like this. Now that we've discovered no one gives a shit what my hair looks like. Welcome, Dan. Good morning to you, sir. It seems like a very, very busy transfer market in general. A lot going on. And we're going to be discussing some of those deals today, which includes Nkunku. Lots of noise coming out that Spurs are going to be looking at Nkunku of Chelsea. Another one that I think is going to divide opinion. We heard yesterday that apparently, the biggest word in football, apparently Cardoso has rejected Spurs in favour of going to Atletico Madrid, and a lot of noise around an Eberechi Eze deal possible. We know that he was offered to Spurs last year and that we said no. Could it be on this year? So we'll get into that. You lot in the chat, smash the like button. Please subscribe. If any of my mods would be so kind to put the Danalists link into the chat. What's the milestone, Dan? What number are we chasing down?
Well, any number really. I'm 800, 1,000. Yeah, anything, man. Any more subs is all good for me, man.
Perfect. So if one of my mods would be so generous to please put that link in. Don't worry about my link for the moment. We'll do that a bit later. Put Dan's link in. Everybody, please, if you like what Dan's got to say, he's a good guy, really good around the community. Please smash that button. Listen, I'll start as I mean to go on, dude. Listen, don't make a fake account about me and my dog that died and then come into my show and start posting. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get angry, but can we please grow up a little bit here, yeah? This isn't funny in any way, shape or form. I saw the post you did last night. Please think that I also have family members that see things like this. It's not nice for them. So can we let's just mature just a tiny bit, eh? Let's just mature a tiny bit. It's a bit childish. Anyway, as we mean to go on, Dan, I think the first thing we've got to talk about is Nkunku. Now, Nkunku's a player I really liked when he went to Chelsea. Really liked. A million injuries later, not really ever had a consistent run in the team. Does it again feel a little bit lazy if this report is true? What do you make of Nkunku and the links? Any truth for you?
It's really difficult with all these links at the moment because we don't know what's going on with the manager. So it's a bit very frustrating because we still don't know 100% what's going on with the manager. So it's great to have all these links, but what truth is it in them? I mean, Nkunku's a good player. I mean, before he came to Chelsea, his stats were really good. Since he's been at Chelsea, the injuries in and out of the team, we haven't really seen the best in Nkunku. But it's a player that I like, and I think it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, I mean, I want to. We've got Lubo joining us in a bit, and also Chris Beresford. I want to talk about that, the whole we don't know what's happening with the manager thing. I've got a very different spin on it to others, but we'll come to that later. Okay. In terms of Nkunku as a player, though, I mean, he scored a lot of goals, in his days at PSG, at Leipzig. He was a very good player. He's not got the worst goal record at Chelsea, but for me, always seems to be a player, Dan, I don't actually know what he is. Is he a wide man? Is he a forward? Is he an attacking midfielder? I mean, what do you think? What is he? Everyone in the chat, what is Nkunku?
Well, he plays in the forward line, I think, across all positions. I just think Maresca maybe hasn't got the best out of him, hasn't found the right place for him in the team. I just think there's a bit of that. And the injuries is going to cause a problem, isn't it? Like in and out the team, can't pick up any form. I mean, do you know, Savva, what injuries he's had? Has it been a particular reoccurring injury, or has it just been different injuries?
I was about what I was doing, so I wasn't being rude. What I'm actually doing is sending the picture of his injuries to myself on email so that I can bring it up onto the screen. Because you're right. This is one of these where I like him as a player. I do. It's not that I don't rate him as a footballer, Dan. My concern, like you've just said there, is are we? and again, this is all hypothetical. We don't know if Spurs actually want to sign him or if it's going to happen, but he is a very injury-prone footballer, and I'm going to show you in just a second. There's a lot of people that will say, well, hang on, Spurs don't do business with Chelsea. This is never going to happen. But there were 2 or 3 sources last night saying it, Dan, and smoke and fire comes to mind, doesn't it? Is there any smoke without any fire? I don't know. Is this just silly season?
I think it is. And again, until this manager situation is resolved, we need to know what's going on, because we don't know, man. This is the thing for me. We see all these links every day. Obviously, a player like Eze, whoever's going to come in, we'd want. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So a player like that, and there is talk around him, that's a player we'd have to get in. But all these links, Savva, I do find it really difficult not knowing what's happening with the manager, because how can we sign anyone if they're going to get rid of Ange? You know what? The manager's got to come in. He's got to assess the squad. He's got to talk to the recruitment team. Who does he want to come into the team? What's the plan? The Spurs got to get a move on, Savva. They really do.
I agree with you that Spurs have got to get a move on. Where I'm going to slightly differ, but I don't want to ruin a segment later, is about the whole Spurs need to find out about the manager, because I don't think we do. I think we know the answer to this. I'm going to bring up these injuries, and then I'm going to bring up some. My man Ash sends me loads of information, so some information about Leroy Sane coming through. But look, here's big up, by the way. Let's just do big up to Finn, big up to Rob Welsh, Jimmy Hotspur, Aussie Ange hater, big up to George. Ant is in the chat. My man Marios, who's out there in Cyprus. Big up Dan, Nicola Polito. Big up to you, Nicola. Good morning to Dobby's dad. I love some of these names, by the way, Dan. I think some of these names are great. The Gleavers family, good morning to you. Yeah, this is what you just sent me, so I'm going to bring that in a minute. The Boomverse, Andy Carmichael, TC Barton. Listen, I can't do everyone, but hello, welcome, and please smash that like button on the way in. And if anyone has put in that, there we go. There is Dan's link. Guys, cheers, I'd like to think that we're a friendly community over here. Can we get 30, 40, 50 people? Smash that like and subscribe button for Dan, please. That'd be absolutely amazing. Tell you what I'll do. I'm going to pin that. I'm going to pin that in a second. So here is the injuries for Nkunku. And as we can see there, let's just remove that banner. It's quite a number of injuries that have sort of built up over 6 years. You know, some obviously, I mean, fitness isn't really an injury, is it? But, you know, groin, ankle, back. I mean, I don't care about the wrist injury, but torn knee ligament, torn muscle fiber, knee, apparently fitness for 9 days, hip, hamstring, knock. It's quite a lot, isn't it, in the last 3 or 4 years?
I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. No, sorry. I mean, if Chelsea want to ship him out, we know why, don't we? Because of the injury record. It's really bad. When you look at it like that, all the number of different injuries, is he the same player anymore after all of that? How old is he, Savva?
He's 27, if I'm not wrong. Someone might tell me different. I think he's 27. Yeah. Let me hang on. Let me just go and have a look and make sure I'm not lying to you. Hang on. Let's just check that goes through. Right. Who are we looking at? Nkunku. Hang on. What have I got? Adobe. Go away, Adobe. Christopher Nkunku. Here we go. So Nkunku is 27 years of age. Nearly, he's going to be 28 at the in November. So an injury-prone player that's coming up to 28. It screams Spursy, doesn't it? This signing, it feels like it's, of all the wingers or attacking midfielders we could get, it feels like it would be very lazy. Is that fair?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I would stay clear of that. Definitely. We need somebody who's less injury prone. But I like him, no, but it's just not now. Maybe back then when before he came to Chelsea, he was scoring all them goals. But now we've seen what's been going on whilst he's playing with Chelsea. Nah, stay clear.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, I know, you know, a lot of people are talking about, well, hang on, Spurs and Chelsea don't do business. And I understand that. But I think we're in an era now where clubs like Chelsea need to make revenue. I feel like the whole oh, we don't sell to them, don't sell to them. I think that's going to go out the window now in modern football with PSR rules, Dan. I think if Spurs was silly enough to say, here's 60 million for Nkunku, I don't think Chelsea would be too bothered that a bit part player for them is coming to Tottenham. Do you think that's fair?
Oh, 100%. They'll ship him out to us as soon as they could. Definitely would, man. Yeah, we've got to be sensible here. We've got to be sensible. Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at his career record, shall we? So if we move here, hang on, before I do that, I'll tell you what we do. Before we do that, big up to Matty K. Are you revising, young man? Thank you for the super sticker. Are you revising? I know you've got an exam on, I think you said the 4th. So what's that? Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever that is. Hope you're revising hard, my man. But big up to you. Mate. Thank you very much, Matty. Appreciate that. Simon Bergen with a super sticker. Thank you very much to you, Simon, as well. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much, buddy. I'm always a bit flattered and humbled when people put their money in. I think it's quite humbling, to be honest. Big up to you, Simon. And then big up to the Aussie Ange hater who said, my wife was diagnosed with cancer today at 42. Hardest day of my life. Stop the hate. It puts everything into perspective. Grow up. It's not worth it. First and foremost, let me just say, I'm really, really, really sorry to hear that news. That must be devastating. And I know it's brand new and I know it's fresh. And I just hope that you and your wife get the treatment. And I hope that it can all be, they called it early enough and can all be sorted. So I'm so sorry you've had to deal with that today. But you are, Danny, 100% right. It does put everything in perspective, doesn't it? Everything in perspective when you hear things like this.
There's a lot of silliness that goes on online on YouTube, very childish behaviours, and something like this. This is real life stuff, man. I'm so sorry to hear that, Aussie Ange. I really hope that she can recover and get the right treatment as soon as possible. I pray. I really do. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. Listen, and you don't need to put your money into me, man. Listen, you go and be with your wife. Don't worry about this. Go and be. I'm guessing the time difference there, though. She might be asleep, but don't worry about this. These things are really important, and people making fake accounts, being rude, trolling, it really isn't. So, listen, big up, my man, and I'm so sorry to hear that. Big up to George. And if there's anything we can do, just let us know as well. I know probably not, but if there is, just let us know. Big up to George for the super sticker as well. Thank you very much, mate. Always very generous. A really good mod for me as well. So thank you very much, George. Really appreciate you. And I appreciate you, Jack Spurs. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that, Jack, George, and everyone who's put their money in. So thank you very much. Let's have a look, shall we, Dan, at... This is his career. Okay. Christopher Nkunku. There we go. Let's just make sure. There we go. So let me remove this. There's so many things on StreamYard you have to remove and bring up. And so if we scroll down, this is his time at Chelsea. I think it would be fair to say that it's been very stop and start. A lot. Listen, I haven't got the details in front of me. I'm guessing that a lot of these Chelsea games will be off the bench. 17 goals in 56 appearances. Again, I think most of them, as you can see, are going to be from Europe. Look, you can see, can't you, that there's a few of 7 of those are from Europe. Dan, I just don't know how I feel about this. If I'm honest, I really don't know. Looking at that before, it was brilliant. Look at his stats at Leipzig. Absolutely fantastic. 23, 35. I just don't know if this is for me.
No, I think with the injuries and we have to stay clear of this signing, Savva. It's definitely not the one for us. We need somebody who's going to be reliable coming in, who's going to be fit to play. We can't have an injury-prone player. We've suffered so many injuries over the last couple of seasons. And Nkunku, I hope there'll be a sensible decision to stay clear of this. And just a rumor that on social media, like we see.
I think if somebody had said, right, Nkunku's going to come on loan and Chelsea are going to cover his wages, I've got no problem with that. I've got zero problem with that because I'd rather Nkunku than Tell, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if we're talking that's our big money signing for, for the Champions League, I would be really. It would almost feel like we're getting Chelsea sloppy seconds. It's not worked out with Chelsea. Oh, we'll sell him to Spurs.
Sane's a better link, isn't it, Savva? Sane?
Well, let's have a look then. Let's move on to Sane, shall we? So first of all, big up to each and every one of you. And then D&B Forever with a super sticker as well. Thank you very much, my man. I really, really do appreciate you as well. D&B Forever, always very generous to me. Most people against the Nkunku move. Yeah, let's have a look at the poll, by the way, which was, would you take Nkunku at Spurs? The three options, Dan, were yes, no, and another failed Chelsea link. 42% have said yes, no are 41%, and another failed Chelsea link are 18%. So it's very much leaning towards no. We'll get into this in a minute because I just feel like Spurs are very lazy with our scouting. I feel like we're truly lazy. Here's something that came this morning, which was, this is apparently from CF Bayern, which is, if I'm not wrong, I believe that was from Falke. I'm probably getting his name wrong, who's very well thought of in Germany. So Tottenham hold concrete interest in Leroy Sane. His agent, Pini Zahavi, is close to Daniel Levy and he is looking to secure a better deal for his client. If Spurs manage to sign Sane, they are unlikely to consider a permanent move for Matisse Tell. Dan, Leroy Sane, I'm seeing lots of people over the last few days really turning their nose up at this guy. What's your thoughts on Leroy Sane?
I mean, we've seen him, haven't we, in the Premier League, playing for City, good player. Then he got his move to Bayern. His stats are not amazing, at Bayern Munich. He's had a lot of appearances, but his stats are not fantastic. I'm sure you'll bring him up in a minute. But he's a player that he's got pace. He can score a goal. He's got experience. If we're looking at signing better players, experienced players, this is the sort of signing we need to look at. It's a better choice than Nkunku for me. But it just can't just leave it there, though, Savva. If we bring him in, that's got to be the start of something.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well when you look at what this man has, and I'll tell you what, let's bring up his stats as well, shall we? Let's bring up. I like Leroy Sane. For me, I love a winger, Dan, that is direct. I like a winger that when they get the ball, their first thought is, I'm driving out wide through the middle, but I'm driving. When I watch Johnson, and not really his fault, because I don't think he's a winger. When I watch Tell and Odebert and Johnson and Son, for me, I don't find them like Son back in the day. Yeah, it was dynamic. Now, when I watch these players, I'm a little bit, is anything really going to come of it? So let's have a look at, stop the screen, present.
Do you like him, Savva, Sane? Do you like him?
Yeah, I'm taking him because do you know what I think he does as well? I know we can always only look at goals and assists. By the way, let's have a look here. If we're talking about his stats not being great, if we look for the last, if you look here, right, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, he's got over between 10 and 16 goals a season.
What's his goal contributions? With the assists and the goals.
That's just goals. I don't know about assists. Let's have a look. Tell you what, I can do that on here. Where are we? Leroy Sane. I just think that he's mega experienced as well. So if we look at his career, right, okay. So this is league only, right? In the league, in the last, he got 5 assists this season, 11 the season before, 7 before that, 7 before that, 9 before that, 10 before that, 15 at Man City in his second season. So that's just league. In the cups, he gets a few. In Europe, he gets a number of assists in Europe as well. I think this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, they're looking at it. When you look at it, the combination of the goals and the assists, they're consistently good. Just under 20, aren't they? I think, is that right?
Yeah. I like him. I don't know if anyone's got a better site that could give me his goals and assists year on year. I don't know if anyone, I know I've got a lot of people in the chat that love this sort of stuff. If we could get goals and assists combined in all competitions year on year. But for me, he's 10 times better than what we've got. right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing for me. I think he's absolutely so much better. Matty K, I'm not really sure the link between Gallagher and Nkunku, though. Completely different footballers, right? But yeah, if somebody could find that for us, Dan, this is what I want to look at, right? And we've been crying out for experience, right? So if we look here, this is a guy with 69 German caps, all right? So we know that he's experienced. He's played in multiple tournaments for Germany, right?
Yeah.
If we scroll down, we can see it. This is guy, he scored goals against the likes of the Netherlands, Russia, France. So we know he can score. Then when we look at his honours, 2 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, 3 League Cups, 2 Community Shields, 4 Bundesligas, 2 Super Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, a World Club Cup. Then you look at it, the PFA Young Player of the Year at Man City, the UEFA Champions League Fantasy Team of the Season 21-22. So this isn't a punt. This isn't like tell. This isn't a punt, and it's
a no-brainer, Savva. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Really, you look at it. I like to look at the stats as well when we talk about players. So after seeing the stats there in front of me, I think it's we've got to push for it, definitely.
Big up to my man Nick from the football club. Big up to you, my man. I hope you're well. Look, I agree. Look, the last thing we heard, let me just go and check. Because Florian Plettenberg, who's like the main guy for all transfer news in Germany, he showed the other day, there was a video he put of Zahavi, the agent of Leroy Sane. He was going into a restaurant with Max Erbels, I think it is. I think it's pronounced Erbels. I might be wrong on that. And apparently he said that the talks were all about Sane. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? When you look at what Bayern Munich have done, it looks like they're trying to sign Matoma now. They've got Musiala who can play there. They've got Gnabry that can play there. They've got Michael Elise that can play there. So for me, I think if we're turning around to Bayern and saying, we know you owe us money, don't give us tell. We want Leroy Sane. I'll be happy.
All day. I tell. I don't want to be mean about the guy. He's a young player, but we need better. We need experience.
I agree, Dan Payton. Yeah, I agree, mate. It is much better than what we've got. The thing is, listen, people can sit in the chat and go, we need better than Sane. I think first and foremost, we need better than what we've got. I think he'd light up the lane, if I'm honest. I love the way he runs players. For me, I think he's good.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'll take him. Yeah, that's a much better link, Sane, I think. And it happened straight after we ended the season, didn't it? So there's got to be something going on.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So Sane has 98 goal and assists combined for Bayern in 200 games. So an assist or goal every other game. I mean, over the course of, you think Spurs have just played 60 games this season. I mean, I'm not saying it's an exact science, Dan. I'm not saying it's, but you take that, wouldn't you? You take that all day long.
That'll be a great start of the transfer window.
I mean, look at this. 505 games. What's that? 245 assists, 245 goal contributions, 1 every 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how any Spurs fan is turning their nose up at this. I really don't. Last year we bought Odegaard and Yang. I don't know what we're doing here.
He's on about 150,000 pounds, 150k at the moment.
Wow. 250 or 150?
150.
Oh, right. So he's more than doable.
Yeah. So he'll want more than that, won't he? He'll want more than that because of his age. So maybe 200.
Yeah, possibly. But let's be fair. If we've got Son on 190, whatever he's on. We've got Romero on, what is he, 165, 170? I think Maddison's on similar. You know, if you want to go and get a Leroy Sane, if you want to get players that play at the top level, then we can't sit here and say it's too much money, right?
How many years contract do you think for him? Player like that?
3, 4?
Yeah.
3, 4. I mean, when we look at it, if we look at Leroy Sane, let me just quickly go to this. Leroy Sane is 20. What is he? He's 29. He was 29 in January. Yeah. He's absolutely rapid. He's got energy to burn. For me, I don't see why he couldn't go for another 3 years in the Premier League. I don't see why not. Manage his game time as he gets a bit older. But imagine that experience for me in the Champions League. I think that would be absolutely vital to Tottenham.
And I think his contract's got 1 year left. I mean, it needs to be checked because I'm only just reading something on my phone, but his contract's expiring 2025.
Shall we have a look?
Yeah.
Here we go. So Leroy Sane, a transfer market, such a good site. So Leroy Sane, no, his contract expires in 31 days.
Oh, there you go.
So he's going to be a free agent, right?
What?
Am I wrong in? God, hang on. Let me bring this up. Let me show everyone just to see if you. Maybe I'm being an idiot. It has been known before, Dan. I've been an idiot. If we all look down there on the left-hand side, it says joined Bayern in 2020. Contract expires June the 30th, 2025.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it says current rumours. There we are. Question mark next to us. Again, rumours for Arsenal, rumours for Liverpool, rumours for Galatasaray. For me, I think this will send a little bit of a signal that we're moving different. I think this will send a signal that we're not just going to buy kids and we actually want some experience.
Yeah. Oh, we need it so badly after the transfer window in the summer, which was just not good enough. The club needs to change this up massively. We need to see from the board if they really want to take things seriously next season, because it's going to be a tough one. We're in a lot of competitions, Champions Leagues, different levels next season. We need to go in fully prepared, not undercooked like we did last summer.
I completely agree. I'm just checking on Capology just to see exactly what he's earning. So where are we? Leroy Sané's on €288,000 a week. 288. So let's have a look and see.
Double check that.
€288,000 in pounds.
Wow.
So he's on 240k. If we want this player, and if he wants the same money, then Levy's going to have to swallow that it is a free transfer.
Yeah.
And up the salary. He's going to have to.
And they get a signing on fee, don't they? A massive signing on fees if they're free.
So, yeah, we're going to have to see. But listen, I think, I'm taking it. If you're offering me Tell, Nkunku or Sane, I definitely know where I'm going to. Big up my man, Aaron. How you doing, man? I love Aaron. Great guy. I'm definitely taking Sane over those two. Sane is a free agent in the summer, as people are confirming. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But let's move away from Leroy Sane. We might come back to him a little bit later. But listen, that will get me off my seat a little bit. I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I want a winger that when the ball goes to them, I go, what's he going to do? Not, he's going to give the ball away or run into the first man, And I understand he might be a bit frustrating, Leroy Sane, but if people don't want players like Sane, who is it that they want? Who is it that they want that's better than Sane?
There's not many, is there really? Unless you're paying millions and millions and millions and top class. We're not going to be able to attract them right now. So Sane makes a lot of sense in so many ways. So experienced, played in the Premier League, won title after title. I mean, what a player to come into the Spurs team next season, eh? Just leave that. Just think about that. Watching him at the lane every week.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. So I'm just reporting that channel, by the way. 1 second. Report user. Sorry, I've got to do it. You can't.
What is it?
You can't.
What's happened?
No, it's that guy doing the son of Savva, picture of dog, all that kind of stuff.
Nasty piece of work, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I just thought I'd do that while I got the opportunity. Let's look at. I want to look at a player that I think everyone can agree we all want, Dan. I think we can all agree on this. Eze. Now, Eze's name has been bandied about at this football club for years. 4 years. I think he's top draw. I think he's one of those that would explode at a bigger club.
Oh,
I think he's one of those that when he comes on, when he gets the ball in a game, I look at it and I go, what are you going to do? You're going to excite me. You're going to wrap one in the top corner. You're going to dribble past a few players. What's your, first of all, before we talk about him for Spurs, what's your thoughts on him as a player?
he's one of those players who can do special things, isn't he, on the football pitch? You know, we've seen him. He just won the FA Cup. Didn't he score the winner, right? I think he did, didn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah.
He got the winner in the FA Cup. I mean, he's an exciting player, so much talent. And look, he's a lovely person as well. You know, he's always smiling. It'd be a good person to have in a dressing room. I mean, he's got so much to give, isn't he? And I think it would be great for him to come to Spurs. And look, he's a typical Spurs player, isn't it? We've lacked that kind of exciting players for a while, have we? I know we've got Maddison, but we need more of them. We need the players who are going to get the bums off seats, make things happen, make the difference in tight games, have that extra quality to kind of win games, create goals, pull out a free kick out of nowhere sort of thing. And Eze, he's gettable and he's English as well. Because we do need English players coming into the squad. There's always that, the balancing act with English players, foreign players. So it makes sense in so many ways. I mean, Savva, what do you reckon the fee for Eze would be? I mean, how many years has he got left in his contract? So that's worth looking at.
Let's have a look. Eze transfer market. If I'm not wrong, isn't it a couple? But let's have a look. Because I know that Guay, he's got 1 year left. So Eberechi Eze, his contract runs, he's got 2 left. His contract ends in 2027.
So there's a release clause, Mark's put in the chat. 68 million release clause.
Well, if there is, get it done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, for me, I think these are the players that are game changing. These are the players that they're difference makers. We can all argue about this player, that player, this player. Some of them you can't argue about. This is a guy that turns up, gets things done. And again, if we actually have a look at this,
he's only 26, Savva. He's only 26.
Exactly. And what I love about Eze, he had the tough path. He had the tough path to being a pro footballer, right? In terms of it didn't work out for him at a number of clubs. Then finally got the move to QPR, then got the move to Palace. Now he's in the England squad. Now people are talking about him for big clubs. For me, I'm taking him all day, every day, and I'm building a team around him. But I need to know that Ange is going to get the best out of him. I need to know that we're not going to spend so much time making Eze track back and be a hard worker rather than a maverick and letting him go and create, if that makes sense.
Savva, this is the problem, and I totally hear you, because Ange's system from the beginning of last season, right, is very, very specific. It's very, very structured. People in set positions, and Eze, will he like that? I don't think he will. So again, how can we get the best out of him? Is he going to be given a free role in the team? Where's Maddison going to play then? All these questions, you need thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And big up to my man Lee in the chat. I hope you're well, buddy. Absolutely, mate. I'd be going to Bayern Munich and saying, don't give us the Kane money, give us Paulinho. Let's take Sane on a free and Eze as a mark. Right, imagine Spurs have a team now that has these. Imagine we did nothing else in the window. Just these 3, right? I know we can talk about we need more, but just these 3, for example. Imagine what that team, how much better this team would be.
It just sounds so easy, Savva, doesn't it? Like, when you look at it like that, Sane on a free, Paulinho, Eze, those 3 players would definitely improve our team massively. And this is what the club needs to do. If we can get Paulinho, we need a player like that, a defensive midfielder, someone to break up the play. He's got height, he's got strength. Another no-brainer. And I think these are the players that we need to bring in this summer. No more young players, just these kind of experienced, ready-made players who are going to come straight into the first team and make a difference. So, I like it.
I'm just putting a little team together here. I'm just putting a little team together in
Fantasy football.
in a builder. But the thing is, again, it goes to show, doesn't it? That's just 3 players. One's on a free, right? So one's on a free, and then one you could probably offset against the Kane money, and one, as Lee says, as a marquee signing. Even as Lee says there, sorry, Paulinho on a loan. Like, yeah. I don't think it's.
What's happened to him at Bayern? What happened? He's not played much. What's going on there?
He's not played as much as he probably would have liked. But again, they've got a lot of good. They've got people, haven't they? They've got people like Goretzka, like Kimmich, like Pavlovic. When you go to the big clubs, you're unless you're special, you're not the main man. And this is the conversation I always have with people about Grealish when they go, "Oh, but at Villa he was a maverick." Yeah, but at Man City he's not the main man. Sometimes you have to, it's the risk versus the reward of, am I going to be honed in a little bit and play a little bit less, but am I going to win everything? So
we need men in this team, Savva. We need men in this team and, proper players who are going to stand up and fight for the shirt.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, big up Lubo. I mean, Lubo, look at this. I mean, we're talking about Leroy Sane and Eze. Look at this post from Lee. What do you make of that? Sane on a free, Paulinho on loan.
We're sorted. He'll have to get money back in. You sell Kulu if you're going to bring Eze in. You don't need 2. Because you've got Maddison there. You've got Donnelly possibly to come back in the shadow, in the reserves, sort of shadowing in the squad. You're nearly done, aren't you? You're nearly done. You bring in Walker Peters as a cover as well. So you've got your extra fullback. I think you just need, mind you, do we need a left centre back? Depends on how Dorrington comes through, but it's we're getting covered now. We're getting covered.
What do you make of Sane, Lubo?
Yeah, it's better than what we got. So you've got to improve the team.
So I'm going to show you guys something. So if Spurs managed to get just those players over the line, right? Have a look at this as a team. If I said this to you next season, how many of you are telling me no? Let me know in the chat what you think. So bearing in mind, that back 5 is already ours. Bergvall, Solanke and Maddison are already ours. All I've done is dropped in Paulinho, Eze and Sane.
Yeah, now you've got to build on that. Start with that.
Now tell me, Lubo, that team going forward isn't a million times better, and defensively with Paulinho in front of the back 4 isn't a million times more solid.
Wow.
Yeah. Much better. But hi, Dan. But you need a new coach because Ange doesn't play with the 6. So you need a new coach to bring that in.
I understand that. I mean, listen, yeah. I tinkered around with Lubo, and I could have gone like that, for example, which is more what Ange does, right? But without Paulinho sitting there. But look, whichever way you look at it, I would want to go and watch that forward line play. Maybe park my feelings on Solanke, but I would want to go and watch Eze and Sane receiving the ball on each wing. I would want to go and watch Bergvall and Maddison as the number 8 and the number 10. I'd want to watch Paulinho sitting and holding. It doesn't have to be rocket science, all this, does it?
So do you then keep Basuma, Bentancur and Sarr? Do you keep all 3?
Not for me. I think you can then move one of them on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of links about Basuma.
You've got Donnelly.
Basuma.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it will be Basuma. I think Basuma or Sarr, you could move on. I don't think if you get the right midfielder in, I don't think you then need both of them. No. And I think both of them will probably be thinking to themselves, how do we make ourselves first team regulars at a football club?
Oh, guys, I know, Savva, you're going to get into it, but it's all about who's going to be managing us next year, isn't it? Because, it's so crucial. It is, isn't it?
Well, I put this in our WhatsApp group earlier, and I said, I feel like we're having this conversation as though Levy needs to come out and tell us where we stand. I don't think he does. I think it's quite clear where we stand. right? I think he's our manager. He's got 2 years left. I don't know why Levy does need to come out and tell us. Park my feelings on him, Lubo. Park my feelings that I don't rate Ange. Why does Levy need to come and tell us anything? Isn't it clear that he's our manager?
Well, you can look at it and say, yes, he's under contract for 2 more years. Levy doesn't need to say anything. He's just won a trophy. But, big buts, 17th in the league. Interesting article by Matt Barlow in today's Daily Mail, who basically said that the longer Levy's quiet, the more worried Ange must be about his job. Because he's not coming out. He's not coming out giving him a vote of confidence, saying he said nothing about.
Why does he need to? Lubo, why does he need to give him a vote of confidence? Why?
Why? Because the league season has been so appalling.
Okay.
Do we just sweep that under the carpet?
No. I'm just saying.
Well,
when a manager's got. Go on, Dan. Go on.
Yeah, I just think that Ange, he's getting questioned after the final, the press conferences by the press. He's not turning around. He's saying, well, I don't even know why I'm getting asked these questions. Levy is a bit out of order here because he should be coming out. Maybe he should have done it in his statement before the match that, we're going to back Ange next season. All he had to say was that we're going to push on next season. We're going to back Ange. He didn't do it. So it's left everybody wondering what the hell's going on. So Levy has got a responsibility here to let everyone know, because all we're doing is arguing about it, thinking about it, worrying about it. I just think I'd get what you're saying, Savva, that he doesn't have to come out and let people know, but something must be going on, because we shouldn't have this questioning.
Add to that, throw Paratici into the mix as well. He's coming back with Gabbianini. Fabio's not going to come back if he's under Munn. That's for sure. And Lange, that's for sure. So he'll be...
Just quickly, some people saying 4-2-3-1 with Bergval's box to box would have been better. Yeah, listen, it works either way, right? All I was thinking of was allowing Paulinho to just sit. That's it. But guys, I'm of the opinion, I don't think he does. I think if he comes out and gives Ange a vote of confidence, when do you give managers a vote of confidence?
He didn't address anything, Savva, about the league seasons, Levy, in that statement. Didn't mention it at all. I
understand that, but does he need to when there was 250,000 people at the parade singing Ange's name?
No, probably
does he
not.
Need, realistically, Dan,
it needs to be addressed.
Does he need to?
I
don't think he does.
No.
When has Levy ever cared about the fans in 25 years? Doesn't give a damn about us, what we say or think.
Lubo, hang on. Hear me out, guys. And please, everyone in the chat, bear in mind, my feelings on Ange. But right now, we're all going, is he going to say anything? Is he not? I don't know what he's meant to be saying. Now, let me caveat this. If in the next month he comes out and sacks Ange, then I'm going to be absolutely baffled as to why have you waited? Why didn't you say anything? Yada, yada, yada. But at the moment, I just think Ange is our manager. Whether anyone likes it or doesn't like it, I don't know what Levy needs to say. I don't know why he needs to say anything. He's won the Europa League, which is what everyone's been telling me I've got to be happier about. He's got Champions League football. He's got 250,000 people singing his name and going mental. Why does Levy need to... What
about the elephant in the room, though, Savva? The elephant in the room is the league season.
If you're sitting down and you're doing a review of the last year, and then you're saying, okay, league season was disastrous, European season was very successful. Mm. Then you look at it and you think to yourself, okay, fine, we got away with it this year. 17th you can live with because we desperately needed that trophy, but it can only be a one-off. Mm-hmm. Look at the trend league-wise, form-wise since the first 10 games. It's been all the way down. Then you look at the big question I keep asking, is Ange the right person to take us forward? How does he take us forward? He turned around and said season 3 is better than season 2. I mean, that was the most ridiculous thing to come out with. Because if you're judging, he is judging season 2 as a European success.
He said we were outstanding. Outstanding season, he said.
He's got to do better, better than winning a European trophy in the Europa League. Well, the only two competitions that he's in that are more prestigious, the Champions League and the Premier League, and we're not going to get anywhere near either of those. So it's just talking nonsense just for the fans, just to lap up, and it's just rubbish. And you just hope that Levy won't fall for all that nonsense. I personally don't think he will, and I think you'll find Ange is on his way in the next 2 weeks. My personal feeling.
Well, look, we've got like Mark says, you've got Vinay starting on Monday. You've got, again, listen, you know what it's like. There's crazy theories everywhere. Lots of people hanging on to this hope that, well, we're waiting for the Champions League final to finish so that Inzaghi can join and he's close to Paratici and all these, there's all these crazy theories. But guys, I genuinely don't think he has to say anything. If that's his manager, isn't it just BAU? Isn't it just cracking on? Yeah, Lubo, I agree with you. You know, I agree with you guys about the form. You know, I don't want him here, but genuinely doesn't. Before we go into that, just really quickly, Max Allegri has just been confirmed as the new manager of AC Milan. He will replace Conceição. Frimpong this morning has been confirmed as a Liverpool player. It's just been confirmed by Florian Plettenberg that Arsenal are deep in negotiations for Benjamin Sesko, who's a good forward. And it's been confirmed that Demirovic of Stuttgart, their top goal scorer this year with 25, is looking to leave this summer. So keep an eye on that. There's a lot of clubs looking for strikers. And he's just got, hang on, let me just double check that I've not lied to you there. Here you go. So Demirovic is the top goal scorer with 25 goals and assists, 15 goals in Bundesliga. He scores every 123 minutes after winning the cup with Stuttgart. He's not happy with the game time there and wants to leave. So just keep an eye on that. Porto are at advanced stages for Gabby Veiga, if anyone remembers him before he went out to Saudi. And Manchester City have just officially, in the last few hours, submitted an official bid. So when we talk about how transfers work, that's now the crunch bit. So the players are happy, the club are happy, the bid has gone in. Talks are now ongoing between AC Milan and Man City for Tijani Reinders. So everyone making moves. Arsenal look like they're getting the forward that they've been missing. Everyone thought it was going to be Gyökeres. Angus in our chat for a year has told us it's going to be Gyökeres. We're in talks with Gyökeres, he said. Everyone in talks, guys. Everyone in talks with players. Sorry, Dan, as you were. Just wanted to get that in.
Yeah, look, Ange has said he hasn't spoken to Levy. Like, surely there's some conversations going on. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, he's gone off on holiday. I mean, what a horrible feeling to have, not knowing where you stand in your position in the job. Just go off on holiday, try and not worry about it. It's hard not to. You know, he needs to know where he stands. So he's actually come out in the press and said that, Ange. He said he hasn't spoken to Levy. So this is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, but again, so I will find all this really weird, Lubo. If he does go, and again, I'm trying to remove my feelings about the manager here. I'm trying to just be as objective as possible. All right. If the manager is staying, then surely this makes sense that there's been no conversation.
Well, I think Levy's doing the right thing. He's sitting back. He's letting the dust settle. He's letting the emotion go from last week. He's giving himself a week to sit back, talk to people, take advice. And I think he's doing that. Why would he pull the plug after the final, Phil? I mean, it's, well, you got to.
It's timing, isn't it?
It is timing. It's all about timing and not rushing. You know, to make a decision like this. You know, he's going to be. He can't do right for doing wrong on this one. You know, so,
well, the majority of the fan base want Ange to remain in charge.
I don't know, Dan.
I've seen a lot of polls, and I've seen a lot of polls online, and it is more Ange they want to keep than Ange to go. So the fan base want him to stay. How's that going to impact on Levy's decision, if this is a decision?
Well, to me, I think the longer it goes, I think the more you'll see people swing back to Ange out. Because I think people will realise, you know, if he'd have lost that game against United, the whole fan base would have said, "This isn't." You know, we're 17th, we're out of Europe. It's been a terrible. It's been the worst season since relegation in '77. So all of a sudden, people are going to flip the other way because he's won a game over 90 minutes with one shot on target. So it's, and what is our system? Is it Ange Ball or Ange Wall? I mean, which one is it?
It's funny, but listen, I've come to terms with it. I've made peace in my own heart that he's staying. My heart, probably my head would have been a better thing to say there, not my heart. I've made peace. I think he's staying. But lots of people do seem to want to hear from Levy, don't they? Like, why is it that we need to hear from him? Is it purely because he's had that league season? Is that why fans want to hear from Levy?
I think we just need clarity. What is going on? What is going to be happening? I myself want to know. It's so frustrating. I mean, I haven't made peace with it yet. I need to know, because I can't sit here. I have my feelings on it. I hear everybody, what they say on it. We just need to know, so then the fan base know what's going on 100%. So
but
then we know
by the silence, Dan, don't we know what's going on? Isn't that the flip side to it? The theory is that no news is nothing's happening. We're just cracking on. Like most other like Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace need Steve Parish to come out and confirm that Glasner's not being sacked.
Yeah. But look, Rob said it in the chat. He said there's all this speculation in the press. Everyone's talking about it. And I just think we just need to know. I get what you're saying, Savva. I do totally get your point. But I think for a lot of fans, they really just need this is it. And if it is Ange staying next season, then we can move away from that discussion of Ange in or Ange out.
But if he's taking a view for this season, there's no safety net with the Europa League competition with second-tier teams for Ange to fall back on. He's in the Champions League, so you're going to be playing your first team Wednesday, Saturday,
Twice
Tuesday, Saturday. Yeah.
You
can't rotate. I don't think Ange did himself any favours by saying that he gave up the league at the end of Jan, which I think is an absolute pile of rubbish.
Well, that's a massive problem, isn't it?
Because the next three games he won. So and between the end of Jan and Alkmaar, there was about 5 weeks in between. So it's just rubbish. It's just nonsense.
But guys, can we see can I ask you guys on this theory? So big up to the notorious PIG, who said the biggest hurdle to sacking is the dressing room. The players are still behind him and you don't want to cause any disruptions. I mean, guys, when people are saying for a fact all the players are behind him, are we talking about what is being said in the media as opposed to how people actually feel?
Exactly, right. Savva.
Right.
These are professional players, and they will say that in now. They don't want to be calling out for the match. They would never say that, would they? Players, we've never heard it. When they've spoken in interviews, I want the manager gone. They're just being professional. And if manager is changed, these players will understand the circumstances around it, and that the league wasn't good enough, and we need to do better. So they will just kick on.
But by the way, so Vinay Venkatesham, who starts Monday, is Monday the 1st? Why don't I know my days of the week? Do you know what? Still to this day,
Monday the 2nd.
Monday the 2nd. Do you know what? Still to this day, whenever I need to work out how many days are in a month, I still do that silly little rhyme because I can never remember how many days are in each month apart from the month I was born. Vinay Venkatesham, one of the strengths of him from reading up about him is that he does like to bridge that gap between the communication between the club and the fans. So maybe that's something that will start to happen moving forward. I think what we've got at the moment, right, guys, is we've got a number of factors that are all bubbling up. We've got a number of dishes that are all being cooked at the same time, and people are, some people are getting 2, some people are getting 10, some people are getting 20. You've got the factor of, well, Ange has just gone on holiday. What's happening? Well, Levy's on holiday as well. Well, Vinay's starting on the 1st. Paratici's coming back. Inzaghi's in a Champions League final. You've got all of these factors that are around it. Could it just be that every one of us is chatting absolute nonsense and we're just carrying on as normal? Couldn't it be that?
Savva, it's tough, isn't it? Because, you have your own opinion on what you want as a fan for Tottenham Hotspur next season. And it's impossible not to talk about it. And that's until we know, then that's what I say. We need to know ASAP. Maybe next week we'll find out. Vinay coming in. Paratici hasn't even been announced officially yet, has he? Has anyone seen it official that he's actually back?
No.
So all this sort of stuff, we need to know what's going on. What they're doing with the.
Maybe it'll be Mitchell, Dan.
Maybe
there'll be a little spin in the plot. Is that because he's just left Newcastle, right?
He has. He's there. Yeah, that's a
Look at
good
the
one.
No chance. Absolutely no chance. Why do you think he left Tottenham? You're dreaming.
Lubo, I'm dreaming.
Money
I'd love
talks,
Mitchell to come back. I thought he
Money
did a
talks.
wonderful job.
You never know.
Why do you think he left?
Yeah, no, of course. We've got 2 and 2. Some of us get 4. Some of us get 8. As I said, listen, a lot of this common sense goes out the window, right? Because we're all deeply emotional about our football club. And we've all got an idea. So if I ask Dan, the manager he wants, the players he wants, the tactics he wants, it's going to be different from the manager you want, the tactics you want, the players same as me, right? Same as everyone in this chat. You got people who are really happy with what Ange has done. You got people who are disgusted with what Ange has done. You got people who don't care. It's for me. I just think we're going to carry on BAU. And look, Ange is on holiday. How long is he going on holiday for? 7 days? 10 days? 14 days?
He didn't tell me, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, look, for all we know, if Paratici is coming back, then he would have been having conversations with Levy about, I don't want this guy. Is it waiting for Vinay to start? Is it a clean sweep of people going? Is it just as it? I genuinely don't know. But until we know, I think we've just got to get on with the transfer market, right?
If Ange is here, man, what is going to get better? The evidence has shown that he struggles so much managing those competitions, the performances, results, everything going back to the first season he's there. If fans do want him still here, and I understand that because we've won the trophy, what is he going to change up? How is it going to get better next season? This is the big questions for me.
Yeah. By the way,
nobody has an answer. No one has an answer.
BAU is business as usual.
Yeah.
Someone asked what BAU is.
Yeah.
No one has an answer about Ange and what he's going to change. How is he going to get it right? Nobody, because there's no evidence that he can.
I think what happens, Dan, with that, and listen, I don't want this to be a massive Ange out kind of thing.
Sure.
I think what happens is a lot of people, like in our WhatsApp group, a lot of people associate it with, if Levy just buys in better players, suddenly his tactics work. I don't believe that.
It's not simple.
I don't believe that at all. I look at his tactics and think whoever plays in these, they're going to be absolutely awful.
I think the results will improve, but not to the level. Morning, Chris. Not to the level that we need. Nowhere near the level we need. Because if you've got better players, they will make fewer mistakes, concede fewer goals, and will pick up more points. But if you want to be challenging properly, then you need a proper manager.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, let me bring in Chris. Welcome, Chris. I don't know if you've met Dan or Lubo before, but if you haven't, here you go.
I met Lubo, seen Dan before.
Yeah. They're all right. They're decent YouTubers, Chris. They're decent YouTubers. I've got them on, they're bringing some wow factor to the channel. Chris, as a season to get older at Spurs, let me ask you this. We're talking about, there's a lot of people out there at the moment saying that Levy needs to tell us something, that the club needs to announce that the job is safe, that they need. Do you think they do? Or is this just a case of, well, he's won a trophy, he's got 2 years left on his contract. Why do they need to tell us anything? Where are you with this, Chris?
I'd probably say the latter, that he's in a 3-year contract with an option of a 4th, and he's only 2 years into that. So if the club want to say it's business as usual, why would they need to make a public statement of any description? They could just, in terms with anybody else's employment, just let them continue rolling with it.
So, but even with, obviously, listen, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Everyone knows my feelings massively. Chris, you more than anyone know how much I want a new manager. But even Lubo said, surely they've got to address something because of the league season that we've just seen. Yes, Champions League qualification, but do they, or has the parade of 250,000 fans screaming his name, has the wave of support that from the players coming out in the media, does that mean now that the club don't need to say anything and that he's okay?
Again, I don't think the club do need to say anything, because if his employment is continuing as per the terms of his contract, it would be somewhat out of the ordinary. When you have held one-to-ones with your employees in the past, you don't make a public statement to the company that, yeah, Savva's doing okay, we're going to keep him on for another 4 weeks until his next performance review. So
Right.
I think it'd be quite unusual to say, yeah, we're keeping him. I don't think they would need to do that.
Yeah, and you two at the top, but so us down the bottom, we don't think anything needs to be said. You two at the top, you really think that it would be in the best interest of the club? Let me ask you this. If they were to come out and go, we're giving our full support to Ange and his team, blah, 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 doesn't that sound like the dreaded vote of confidence, which normally comes when a manager is doing poorly and you normally know that means they're getting sacked very soon?
Well, I would expect someone like Vinny to come out and make a statement, a general statement, covering lots of different things about the new season, about the new structure, and also whether we're getting behind Ange, or we're looking to strengthen the squad now for next season for Ange, or if Ange goes, then there'll be an announcement to say he's gone. They won't get rid of him till they've got another manager lined up. Personally, if Glasner isn't going to come, I'd love to see Thomas Frank. I was on Luke's show last night, and there were people talking about one or two comments that Thomas Frank plays a boring, pragmatic game. Do you know Brentford were the 4th highest goal scorers in the Premier League last season? This season just gone. I'd love to.
You've got to remember, with a lot of football fans, they don't actually watch teams inside out. What they do is go, do Brentford play tick-a-tacker, all-out gung-ho football? No. Oh, they must be shit. They must be pragmatic. They must be boring. That's what... I mean, what do you guys think of Frank? Dan, Chris?
Yeah,
Frank?
look,
doesn't
he's a
get me
good
excited.
manager. Doesn't get you excited, but he's a good manager, isn't he? He will do a good job, probably better than Ange, because... he sets up a team a bit more stable, attacks and defence. It would have been my first choice, Chris.
No, neither here. But what I did think was refreshing last night, which went against the supposed narrative our fans tell us, that AC Milan sacked Sergi Conceição after winning the Coppa Italia and only been in charge for 5 months. So you've got a couple, and they finished 6th in the Serie A. So you've got them turning around very quickly, saying, no, he's not a good fit, it's not working, despite him delivering success. And that goes against the narrative that our fan base is telling us, oh no, how could you sack a manager who finished 17th, lost 22 games, but got lucky and delivered us a trophy along the way?
It's levels, isn't it, of... I don't know, it's just expectation.
Professionalism, big club mentality. We're still... a massive club, but we behave like a small club.
Have done for 24 years.
Yeah, no strategic oversight. I read something.
No planning, nothing.
Read something this morning that almost made me pull out my hair, and it was a suggestion that Scott Munn's going to be retained in a lesser role, nothing to do with footballing operations. How can you keep a man on who's failed the club in respect of Ange's recruitment, the medical team with the worst injuries we've ever seen, and all of his other glorious failures? He should be marched down out of N17 with his P45 in hand.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, isn't it? We've got to be the only club in the world, right? We've got to be the only club in the world that win a trophy, and then for the next 2-3 weeks, we're all still a bit like, what's going on? Is something happening? Is it not? Why are we not active in the market? But why? Let me move it to that side, guys. Why are we not active in the market? And what I mean by that is, I'm sure we're speaking to agents. I've got no doubt we're speaking to agents, all right? I'm not belittling that and saying we're not. But we know that Arsenal are actively in negotiations for Sesko. We know that Man City are actively putting in bids for Reinders. Liverpool have already signed Frimpong. They're in talks with Wirtz and with... who else do I see they're in talks with? Is it Kirkes and somebody else as well that they're in talks with? Man United already in talks with Cunha. Why have we got a manager and a chairman who's on holiday and these other clubs are doing these bits? Is it because we're waiting for Paratici? Is it because Lang's not very good? Is it leave it? Like, what's going on?
You'd think that Paratici was already at work in the shadows before his appointment's made official. Again, we seem to be dragging our heels and we seem to be late to the table for months. I thought we'd be in for the Canadian forward who's left Nice. I thought he was potentially an attractive opposition.
Jonathan Davis.
Lille. Oh, you mean Jonathan Davis from Lille?
Yeah, when you think he was a free signing. And again, it looks like one of the Italian clubs has come in for him into Milan and he's possibly going up there. So we just seem always late to the party. Yeah, Napoli. Yeah.
Napoli, wasn't it? Who have just won the league. So yeah, it's a bit like Liverpool going for a player. We're the champions. Well,
Frimpong's on a plane at the moment heading into Liverpool, so that's £35 million signing, and that's a new right back. And they're talking about getting the German midfielder, aren't they? Is it Wirtz or something?
Yeah. Florian Wirtz going to Liverpool.
When's the window open, guys? When's it officially?
July the 1st, I think.
It opens twice this time around, doesn't it? It's open for 2 weeks and then shuts and then opens
mid-June.
Yeah, there's one for the clubs that are going to be in that World Club Cup, right? Yeah. And then there's one for the rest of us. But listen, I don't even think it matters when the window opens. Clubs are signing players, right? Let's be fair. All that means is they can't actually turn up at the football club until that day. But that's the strange thing for me is if Ange is staying, and again, I think he is, and our signings are going to be Kyle Walker-Peters, Matisse Tell, and this guy is saying yes to them, I would expect him to walk. I would expect him to walk. If he's what he says he is, walk.
Yeah, Matisse Tell for 50, 45, 35 million is an absolute joke, and it aligns with Timo Werner arriving at the club last summer. There is better ways to spend that money on a guy that he didn't again move the bar or get me excited at all.
Yeah, we need better than him. Well, I don't think they're going to spend that much money on a player like that. I'd be shocked.
But look how quickly Chelsea has seemingly been out and got Delap, and his release fee was 30 million. No messing around. We're activating this. We're going to bring him in. English player, scored something like 36% of Ipswich's total goals last season. Yeah. He offers more than Richarlison. He offers more than Werner. And he's a unit. He's a physical unit. Yeah.
Is that confirmed, guys? Is he definitely going there?
Yeah, he's done. He's a Chelsea player. Yeah. Same as, by the way, breaking news right now is Real Madrid have just paid £10 million to take Alexander-Arnold early. So they've paid £10 million for their free transfer. So
yeah. So he can play in the World Club Cup, isn't it?
Yeah. He's coming across the screen right now. Alexander-Arnold to join Real Madrid. But listen, guys, there's I'm looking across, again, Man City are in talks with Milan. They've just tabled the official bid for Reinders. Frimpong signed for Liverpool today. Clubs seem to be doing stuff, making things happen. Man United have got Cunha. United, that's the team we beat, who apparently wouldn't. Yeah. Apparently they were going to die a death if they.
What about Mbeumo? What's going on with him? Mbeumo, I heard he's linked to Newcastle.
I'd take him every day of the week. Yeah.
That's a player we need. He's on about 35k a week.
I'll tell you what I would have done if I was Spurs. I know it's easy to sit here and say football manager, whatever. The day after we've won that, the day after we know we're in the Champions League and we know our budgets, I've got a bid down on the table because there's no doubt we must have spoken to his agent. And if we haven't, that is just gross negligence from our scouting team, because this is a guy that I think everyone in the Premier League would take on their right-hand side. Maybe you could say City don't need him and Liverpool don't need, but Newcastle would want him on the right-hand side. Spurs would want him. Villa would want him. Chelsea would want him. Arsenal, I think the only reason I didn't mention Arsenal was because of Bukayo Saka. But yeah, look, that's where I don't know why we're not doing that. So is it because we're waiting for something like it's going back to your guys' theory at the top? Is it because something's happening in the background and Levy's biding his time?
Who knows? It's not a proper football club, is it?
Well, you look at Mbeumo. They're talking 50 million. He's 26 in August this year, so he's got plenty of football left in him. But he's also 222 appearances for Brentford, 66 goals, 6 at international level for Cameroon. We've been signing embryos and prepubescent children for far too long. We need established men. We need men to come into the team and to move us on. After the last transfer window where we went the kids route, we can't do kids again. We need old grunters, people who have won stuff, and people who can bring on the young kids.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. And the thing is, what we should be doing, Chris, is it should be that an Mbeumo comes in, that's your right-sided forward. All right, Brennan Johnson, you're now a squad player. You're an impact sub. You can play in the League Cup and FA Cup, whatever. But Mbeumo's your Champions League and Premier League guy. That's the way squads build, right?
And thanks for the memories, Son. But all good stories come to an end. Enjoy your time in the sun.
Well,
exactly.
If this turns out to be a shit show transfer window, I hope people remember that when Change for Tottenham start their demonstrations against Levy next season, because far too many fans sit on their backside and don't come out and protest because the whole thing's a joke. Whole thing's an absolute joke.
It don't work. The protests don't work.
Worst league record in our history.
Yeah.
In our history since we started in 1882. Worst league record. Never been this. It's not. That's right, Johnny. It's not a proper club. We don't have a proper owner, and it's not properly run.
If the club had any balls, they would have sacked Ange a long time ago, man.
It's nice.
It's actually ballsy to sack Levy and told him to sling his hook, even if he's just gone. Say sorry, Daniel. There's $1 billion. Ta-da.
The question
you should have bought his shares and said, right, go. This is ridiculous now. Just ridiculous.
As I've said, the Europa League win has killed a lot of movements. It's killed the Ange out movement. It's killed the Levy out movement. Look at the scenes on that protest. Look at, there are people still 10 days or whatever it is after the final now telling everybody off like me if I'm not sitting here going, we won a trophy. That it's killed for me. I'm sorry. It's killed it.
Isn't it just paused, Savva? Not killed. It's just paused.
I agree. I agree, Dan. Dan, I agree. Because you know what?
Okay, Dan. Hang on, Lubo. Dan, let me ask you this.
Go on.
Tottenham Hotspur. What year did Tottenham Hotspur beat Ajax in the semi-final of the Champions League?
2019, right?
And people are still dining out on that. People are still dining out on a semi-final from 2019, right? Now imagine we've just won a European trophy. Again, this is only Savva's opinion, right? Next year, if everyone starts trying to protest, everyone's going to turn around and be like, why are these idiots protesting? We've just won a European trophy. This is our most successful team in 41 years.
Look, unfortunately,
I'm just saying.
No, I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, the going on with losses, defeat after defeat, terrible transfer window, awful season, that builds momentum with the protests, right? So next season, if it starts going that way again, we start getting battered in the Champions League under Ange's rubbish tactics. You know, we start losing games in the Premier League, then protests will be coming back, especially if the summer transfer window is poor.
Yep. If we're bottom 6 by the end of September, you watch.
They'll be back.
If we're bottom 6, sure, but if we're not, then what?
Yeah, but if we can see the club making progress like this summer, you know, they bring in experienced top players, we can see that they actually want to be competitive on the football pitch, then obviously that's going to help massively of how fans feel. If they're not competitive in the transfer market and they keep Ange and Ange doesn't change, then it's just going to go backwards again. So it's just a crucial summer transfer window. The decision around the manager is just massive.
All depends if Levy has a light bulb moment and realises how privileged he is to have that job as chairman of this great club, and actually starts putting some effort for the first time in 25 years into the first team squad.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We all want that.
But Lubo, this is the thing for me. We've got a fan base that are sitting there and saying in their thousands, we don't care.
But they're flip-flops, Savva. They're all flip-flops.
Hang on. But they're sitting there and saying, we don't care that we finished 17th. The league doesn't mean anything. So why suddenly do we think we might be bottom 6 next year and everyone's going to start protesting? They've already made it clear. They don't care because we won the trophy. Not me. You know how I feel, Lubo. Chris, Dan, you all know how I feel. But we've got fans that have been leaving Ange out for 2 years that have now overnight gone, doesn't matter about the league. He deserves to stay. And you're like, okay. So if they're going to flip-flop on that, how are these people going to be tempted to join on the Levy protest, guys?
Look, these guys flip-flop to Ange in, Ange out because of that final. Once it's all died down, once the season kicks on, and if things are not done right in the summer, and Ange still continues to not manage this squad team well, fans will be back on Ange out again. Savva, you know what fans are like. You know, they're in the moment now because there's a celebration of the Europa League. Right.
Yeah, but that tells you that there's no real heart, Dan. If people are going to flip, listen, if people can change their opinion on a manager over 90 minutes of football, it tells me that the opinion is very weak.
And then they can come back. This is what I'm saying, Savva. They can either go one side, that side, and swap back, depending on how they're feeling as a fan in that moment.
Sure. I mean, Chris, protests, dead in the water or can regain momentum? What do you think?
I think as a fan base, our fans are guilty of being very sentimental and emotional, as opposed to applying logic and looking at the bigger picture. And whilst you've got fans singing the Robbie Williams Ange song at the last game of the stadium after we've just been thumped at home 4-1 by Brighton, the voices are somewhat diminishing. But you've got to be careful what you wish for, as these people are applauding Ange and saying we've got to give him time. If we end up in a relegation battle next season, you've got what you deserve. This bloke is woefully out of his depth. He's a habitual liar. At the beginning of last season, he was telling us that there's no reason the squad shouldn't be competing for the league. And look at the disaster that unfolded.
But Chris, and again, devil's advocate, you know I agree with you. I have to caveat this because people think I flip-flop. We've got fans that don't care if we're in a relegation battle next year, as long as we lift the Carling Cup.
But
like that's where our fan base is at. Just lift that cup over 5 games, and it don't matter where you are in the league.
But we've got a small-time mentality where we've not experienced success for the long term over many a year. And you've got Ange calling our fan base out when people wanted Man City to beat us to stop Arsenal winning the league. But then, for his own admission, he decided to throw the league in pursuit of a cup that he may or may not have won. If I'm the chairman and I'm hearing that, I'm marching him out the door, because that is not what we associate with our great football club. We want a manager who wants to win every time our players step onto the pitch and display that club badge over your left breast. You want men to go to war on the pitch for the club. He has not got that mentality, and we've got weak-minded players in that team.
Look, I'll back that up. It was such a fine line, that final. It could have gone the other way, and then it would have been an absolute disaster, and everybody will be out, Levy out. It could have changed.
We were the worst team by a mile. We weren't the good team. We just
I disagree. They could have been playing today. They wouldn't have scored United.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They were all like, we couldn't make 3 passes in that final, Lubo. We were
first half we were okay. Second half we sat back.
Well,
honestly, I've watched Spurs under the cosh so many times this season, and we weren't wide open like we have been in all the league games. You know, they were tight. They dug in. They fought for every ball. The only time I worried, honestly, I didn't see. Unfortunately, the only part of the game that I missed was when Højlund headed the ball over Vicario and someone stood up in front of me, so I didn't see Mickey's brilliant clearance off the line. But the only time that I was seriously worried was in added time on when I thought, you know what, it'd just be like Tottenham to give away a goal in the last few minutes.
But that doesn't change what I'm saying. Lubo, it doesn't change what you're saying. They were the much better team in the final. Whichever way we... Lubo, they were.
Savva, I've just sent you a text message that all evidence that...
Sideways passing. I mean, just...
Lubo, I know, Lubo, they had 74% of the ball They had 16 shots. They had 6 on target. Vicario made 2 or 3 wonderful saves. I'm sorry. Yes, we won the final, but you can't tell me they weren't the better team on the night.
We had 72% possession against Forest both games this year. Did you ever think we were going to beat Forest?
Lubo, you're not listening to the words I'm saying.
I heard everything you said.
Man, you were going to beat us. They were just superior to us on the night. And again, the only way Ange can get over the line, Lubo, like he did against Frankfurt, was by putting 10 men behind the ball, right? So when we're saying, when we're going to turn around and say that's the game that's changed a lot of people's minds, but like do you know what? On that final, we had a 60% pass accuracy. So every 10 passes, we gave the ball away 4 times. Like it was hard work watching it. And at the end, none of that matters. I get that. But we weren't, Lubo, we weren't good. We really do misconstrue defending for our lives versus playing well.
I didn't say we were good. I didn't say we were good.
I praised the defending.
Thought United were poor.
Defending, but Man U pissed all over us.
I thought they were poor, United. That was a really poor side. Every United fan I've spoken to thought they were absolutely diabolical.
Of course, because they lost the final, mate. Of course, because they lost the final. You're telling me if that game had ended 2-1 or 1-1, it wouldn't have been a fair result? If it had ended 2-1 to Man United or 1-1, it wouldn't have been a fair result?
I thought we deserved it. The way we dug in, the way we challenged and fought, and when it came to defending, I thought they were superb. Do I want to see it again? 27% and 1 shot on target? Hell no, I don't. But they did a job. They did what they had to do. And
I'm not saying they didn't, but you can't turn around and say, man, you weren't the better team on the night.
I didn't see great flowing football from United.
Lubo, you're now starting to do this disingenuous thing where you're twisting. I never said that was free-flowing football.
I didn't say you said that. I'm saying.
Man United were camped in our half for the second half. We were abysmal. We couldn't pass. And listen, let's be fair. Van der Ven spared blushes, right? The open header from Bruno Fernandes when no one marked him in the penalty area. Vicario tipping 2 round the post. And we're saying they weren't the best team. Lubo, do you know where I'm going to call you out on this? If this had been Spurs and me and you were arguing on a WhatsApp group and Spurs had lost the game, and I said, we were rubbish today, you would have said, no, Savva, we had 16 shots, 6 on target. Their keeper made 4 saves. But because it's not Spurs, you can't take the blinkers off.
Well, this has been reversed, and you've actually said to me, they held us off, like Forest, both games. It was 70% possession. We had all the shots.
Lubo,
you turned around and said we had nothing up front. United had nothing up front.
Well, hang on. Vicario made great saves. Bruno Fernandes missed a sitter. In the last couple of minutes, they had a few chances.
I wouldn't say Fernandes missed a sitter with that header.
Are you kidding me? He was left alone in the penalty area.
I wouldn't say that was a sitter. I think Vicario.
Come on.
You'd expect Vicario to save from Garnacho. You'd expect him to save that. You'd have been really pissed off if he didn't. The save from Luke Shaw was Spurs.
If this was Spurs, you would say, we were all over a team and played really well. This is crazy, man.
I said that in Newcastle. I must say, I got slaughtered for saying that I didn't think we deserved to lose up at Newcastle this season. We lost 2-1. Newcastle had 3 shots. I think we had about 20. Everybody said, no, Newcastle were the better team. We didn't really.
No, Newcastle weren't the better team, but we didn't win. There's a difference between being the better team and not winning. There's a huge difference. And Man United in that cup final, we managed 184 passes in the whole evening. That's absolutely we managed, what's that? Averaging 2 passes a minute. It's come on, man. Come on.
Can I ask another question? Can I ask another question? United aside, how many points during the season did Ange take against Arteta? How many did he take against Slot over at Liverpool? How many against Man City? So when we've come up against the elite teams, how has he fared against elite level coaches? And the answer is obvious, and that's the danger next season. We're in the Champions League against much better players, much established teams. This is the danger of sticking with him. There's loads of points that we're going to drop or lose because he hasn't got the tactical ability to match these guys.
Well, Chris, the only team that we played that I think would be in the top 10 of the Premier League is Frankfurt, out of all the teams. People might argue with me about Galatasaray. I don't think Rangers, I don't think Roma would make top 10. Honestly, questionable. But when you look at the top 10, when you look at our matches, our results this season, we won 4, of which out of 20, that 2 were against Brentford. So of the top 9, we won 2 out of 18 games. We drew 4, lost the other 12.
I am so worried if we're going.
Yeah,
so worried, and I'm really worried. The fan base and they're kind of what they see in football. Why aren't more? Or they just all caught up in the emotions of the final. That's all I can see. It's just that because we are not a good team.
But he's not taken any players forward. He's not developed anybody. We haven't been saying, "God, good God, Porro's become one of the best right backs in the league." But too many players have gone backwards. We've had numerous debates around Archie Gray, but the bloke's been played at left back, right back, centre back, yet he's only been given 6 games in his supposed proper position. And one of those was Liverpool away at Anfield, where he threw him like a rabbit in headlights in front of him. He was a boy, and Villa. So he makes all these, and my real concern is his lack of player identification, that he was happy to sign Timo Werner. Some of the other rubbish that he bought. Yeah, you just think we should not be trusting this man with potentially 150 to 100 million. He's already spent 440 million pounds in the transfer market since he's been at the club. What have we achieved with that?
Chris, I don't think anyone...
130 million on Solanke and Richarlison. You throw in Brennan Johnson.
105, Chris, 105.
Well, there wasn't Richie.
Forget the add-ons. Take off the add-ons. 57 for Solanke.
Who cares? Who cares? It was 100. Who cares? Who cares, Lubo? It was a lot of money. Who cares how much? It was a load of money.
You think what you could buy for 100 million pounds if you've got something about you?
Of course.
Look, I by the way, people in the chat, I really don't think people get nuance. No one's saying we care how we beat Man United. I'm just making a statement that we weren't the better team, best team in that final. I know people get their knickers in a right old twist. Oh, Savva still didn't like the win. No, I'm just saying you can't play like that week in, week out in the Premier League, right? And he's shown that's how he needs to play to beat Frankfurt, to beat Man United. That's how he had to play. You can't do that week in, week out in the Premier League. You can't get into the Premier League, have 24% possession or whatever we had every game, 10 men behind the ball, and our fans are going to go, yeah, this is what we like to see. So I'll ask again, what Spurs are we going to see next season under Ange? Is it the gung-ho chaotic Ange, or is it going to be the defensive football that won us the Europa League? I don't know who we are.
And this is it, Savva. This is the massive concerns. We don't know.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Ange is 60 this summer. He has got no desire to change for anybody. You've got what he is, and he'll never change.
It is what it is with him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Ryan Mason's in talks with West Brom. His contract ends at the end of next month. Not that I'd be too upset to see him go and wish him good luck, like the guy went to Birmingham. But
Davis.
Yeah, our coaching network and our backroom team's hardly established and full of quality coaches. So another voice will be lost. Who's he going to bring in? Again, I'm underwhelmed at what that might look like.
It's the biggest risk, keeping Ange in the job. Massive risk.
If you're the
I think Lubo Matt runs his own business. So if you're a managing director, vice president, CEO of a company, the number one priority for you is to safeguard the future of your business, to grow its value and to bring through the better people. Allowing him to remain in that position is like playing Russian roulette by Daniel Levy, and he will be entirely blamable. But he is a man who's accountable to absolutely nobody. He's got so many things wrong over the past 24 years, but he's still there, and he's the highest paid chairman in the league. So he doesn't really care, does he?
And you know what, Chris? He played Russian roulette with Spurs' immediate future as well this season. Yeah. He got lucky this time.
That's
right. If Mickey hadn't have been there, if United had finished up winning that game,
then
we'd have probably been 100 million down,
Free transfers, very little signings. Would have.
That's right. No Europe, falling further behind six clubs who are in the Europe. Well, 8 clubs who are in Europe. It would have been a long way back, and
the squad.
He took a massive risk, enormous risk, keep sticking with Ange.
And the squad is massively bloated, and we've got so many people returning on loan, specifically the young guys. Where's the future of Alfie Devine? What are we doing with him? We've got Vuskovic coming back. We've got so many left wingers.
Jamie
Donnelly.
Donnelly, yeah.
Lancashire, yeah.
Keeley, Lancashire. Yeah, well, Felices.
Yeah, 13.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying there's a lot of footballers there. There's a lot of players there.
If you look at it, the players coming back on loan, forget Højbjerg, because I think that was an obligation.
Yeah, that becomes.
You got 12. You got Keeley, Gunter, Dorrington, Abbott, Donnelly, Phillips, Yang, Solomon, Gill, Devine, Lancashire, Veliz.
So you need to be. Yeah, you need to be proactive in getting them out on better loan deals to Championship clubs for the likes of your Donnellys and Keeley's. Keeley's already shown enough about him when I've seen him to suggest he could be in contention. As we need to replace Vicario. He's a poor keeper. You can't rely on him.
I'm not with you on that one, Chris. I think he's one of the best shot stoppers going. And
Chris, I'm with you. Massively overrated.
Yeah, as a 34 years season ticket, not as long as you, Lubo, but that's on age only. But we've had far better keepers in our past than him.
Yes, for me, Jennings, Clements, and Lloris are the best 3 that I've seen.
Yeah,
but I do think talking about what I'm seeing today, I think he's a brilliant shot stopper, absolutely superb.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Lubo, how many goalkeepers are brilliant shot stoppers? That's their job. It's all of the other bits that make up whether you're a top goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are shot stoppers, right? He's not good in the air, right? He flaps at everything. He's not good with his feet. For a guy who's 6 foot, whatever he is, he doesn't command his box. What is it about him that people go, yeah? Is it just shot stopping?
And he shouts.
He shouts at people. But I thought in the
tries
final, I thought
tries
he was
to dig out and
in
humiliate the youngsters when he needs to take a look at himself in the mirror.
I thought he was awful in that final, guys.
When he came to catch it, missed it, hit him in the head.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, even though we've lost Chris.
What a picture.
Yeah, I'm back.
Sorry, Chris, we lost you. We lost you.
If you look at that back, I think it was Basuma that crashed into him. If you have a look at it. Have a look.
There was 2 or 3 in the first half, Lubo. Corners that came in. He doesn't deal with them. He flaps at it, dropped. Do you know what? I'll tell you what he is. I'm gonna go against Lubo here, saying he's a top shot stopper. Right? I was always taught this. Right? As a goalkeeper, you never ever palm the ball out in front of you. You always palm it to the side. You watch Vicario. How many of his saves and the ball drops right in front of him at the striker's feet? I think he's okay. I think he's okay, but I think we got what we paid the 15, 16 million for. For me, I don't think he's as good as other goalkeepers in the league. I think, again, he's been blown up into he's amazing because he plays for Spurs. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. He was awful. Remember that goal against Wolves? Again, absolutely awful against Wolves, and then he's going to the referee. It's a free kick.
There were. That's probably his worst game. That you've just picked out his worst game out of, I don't know, 70, 80 games that he's played for Spurs. So it's unfair. You've gone for the very worst out of all the games he's played there.
No, Lubo. I just think I think what I've seen in the last 2 years, he's very good with his shot stopping. Yes, very good with his shot stopping. But for me, he's not secure enough. I don't think, for me, he takes the pressure off the defenders. I don't think he comes out and claims the ball. Too much silly punching and too much silly flapping. He's okay. We're not going to get a new goalkeeper. I get it. But for me, I think there's a lot better out there if you look around Europe. A lot better than Vicario.
This is the original question around the bloated squad. We've got Luca Gunter got this guy coming back. What are we doing with these players? And we've also got Dorrington, who's just won a FA Cup in Scotland, coming back. But the suggestion is we're put another year on Ben Davis's contract. Well, that's blocking any potential route into the first team for these young guys, and that is such a silly thing to do. It's ridiculous.
For sure. I mean, look, we're talking about, I think we worked out the other day, we've got something like, was it 17, 18 players when everyone's back under the age of 22 or 23? And a lot of those need game time. If they're not going to get game time in Champions League, right? You can't give them game time in the Premier League. So that's not how it works. Where does their game time come? We didn't even give them game time this year. So how do we get them game time?
We haven't even spoken about Ashley Phillips. What's happening with him? Is he ever going to come good as time's running out for him? Is he another Joe Rodon type signing? Okay at Championship, but it's never going to cut in the Premiership.
Again, we missed a massive opportunity when both Romero and Van der Ven were injured against Chelsea in November 23. You should have put him straight in. Instead of playing Dyer at Wolves, you should have put him straight in, seen how he went. If Phillips had come through in those few games, before Romero was back after a 3-game ban, if he'd have given him 3 games and he'd have come out and he'd looked really good, you wouldn't have needed to have spent 21 million on Dragusin.
Do you trust Ange with any of these youngsters, though? I don't.
No.
Oh,
no, of course not.
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
Well, look at what he's done with Gray. He'd rather play players out there. He was talking about playing Basuma at centre-back in the past on occasions, whereas he could have plucked somebody from the youth team. Can you
imagine, the amount of penalties Basuma gives away? I mean, Brighton, Chelsea. I mean, he didn't learn from the Chelsea game, did he? That was a ridiculous challenge on Sunday, wasn't it?
If we look, like you were saying there, Chris, right? For me, if you've only got 3 centre halves, which was for Romero, Van der Ven, and Dragusin going into this season, and then Ben Davis as an auxiliary centre half, Ashley Phillips should have been the one there, so that when Van der Ven and Romero get injured, with all due respect, it shouldn't be Archie Gray going in at centre half.
100%.
It should be Ashley Phillips going in at centre half.
Yeah.
Right? But for some reason, we're now trying to blood Archie Gray. No matter what I think of him, I don't rate him at all. I don't see anything in him as a footballer one bit. But for me, if I am going to have that opinion of him, I want to have that opinion of him in midfield. I don't want to have that opinion of him as a young lad that's filling in at the back. Do you know what I mean? Like I want Ashley Phillips. That's a centre half. This is where he's played probably since he was a 3 or 4-year-old Ashley Phillips. Go on. Show us how good you are. Everything we do seems to be a little bit backwards. Do you know what I mean? There doesn't seem to be any real thought process going into it.
But there isn't.
That's the problem. There isn't. There's no plan.
No plan from Levy, no plan from transfers and recruitment, no plan from
footballing people. We've got a lack of footballing knowledge and footballing people. If you bring back the mentality of Harry Redknapp and Kevin Bond, automatically you lift things through the stratosphere.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. By the way, people's talking about the poor defence in front of him. I'm not talking about the number of shots this man has to face. I'm talking about bread and butter of a goalkeeper. Trust me, when scouts go out to watch a goalkeeper, they're going to look for 3 or 4 key things. Yes, they're going to look at shot stopping. They're going to look at handling. They're going to look at how they work with their feet and how they command their box. Right. And for me, Vicario just doesn't tick enough of those boxes for me to say that's a top keeper. I'm not saying sell him. I'm not at the moment. I think we've got much bigger fish to fry than Vicario. I think we need a DM. I think we need a winger. I think we need a striker. I think we need more goal threat. Listen, guys, I do want to end the show there because I'm not saying I want to. I'm actually going to London to film for The Sun this afternoon. So I need to go and get my move on. Before we do that, big up to John Stokes, who said Levy will not pay Sane's wages or signing on fee. John, if he doesn't, and if that is the stumbling block, then it does just do what Lubo said. It gives more weight to the protests and things like that we're not willing to get into the Champions League and spend. Levy's the one that last week in that video to the players said, this helps us on the path to being at the top of football. Well, if we can't even get Leroy Sane, then that doesn't ring true. So I agree with you, John. Big up to my man, Blaine Dev. Always very generous. Thank you very much. Said, morning, Savva, and the chat. Hope you're all good. This rumour of Nkunku fills me with dread. 45 to 50 million for a player who has had more injuries than hot dinners and would demand 200k No thanks. Big up. I agree with you. Blaine Dev, 2 years ago, I would have been all over Nkunku. I thought he looked brilliant. I thought he was flying. At Chelsea, he's just had injury after injury after injury. If we sign him, we cannot then complain when he gets injured. All right. I agree with you, mate. There's much better players. Give me Leroy Sane. Thank you, Blaine Dev. Really appreciate you, man. That's very nice. The Gleavers family have just sent a super sticker. Big up to you and all the family. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's very generous indeed. Atavatron Wembley 1 has said the one thing you can rely on in a Levy transfer window is lethargy. Complacency and general all-round incompetence. Levy has that down to a fine art. Yeah, it's almost as though Lubo wrote that. It's absolutely spot on. Absolutely, this is Levy in a transfer window, and we've got to act. Now, I take it all back. If I wake up tomorrow and Spurs have signed Leroy Sane, for example, I have to sit back and go, all right, fair enough. What next? But we'll see. Big up to you, Atvatron Wembley 1. Big up to the sheriff who's been a member for 16 months. Said, have we signed anyone yet? No, we haven't. And no, Poch is not back at the club yet, because I know that's going to be your next question. Big up to you, Mark. Really appreciate you. Big up to Matt, who's become a YouTube member. Hopefully this isn't the long line of people with the name of Matt who just come out with silly comments. Hopefully somebody else. Big up to you, mate. Look out for the member-only shows starting next week. Big up to you, mate. Thank you and welcome. And a user finally has said nothing much changing. We're renewing a lot of players. And a user, thank you for the comment. Last thing I'll say to you guys, so I really do have to go and get my hair cut and get to London. Absolutely right. If you look at what we're talking about doing, Danso is an obligation. There's one signing with 25 million. Tell, if we get him, there's 35 million. So suddenly you've brought in 2 new players, but the squad is absolutely no different from last season. So for me, huge worries. Huge worries. Let's see what we do. At the moment, I don't care about the Ange in, Ange out stuff. At the moment, transfer window is moving for clubs. I want Spurs to move. Chris B, thank you very much. Lubo, thank you very much. The Danalist, thank you very much. Guys, I'll have a video out later. No other lives today. And Levy's dilemma, does he stick or twist with Ange? I keep reading it, but I'm not seeing any action. So at the moment, I'm just going with he
reckons his job's on the line despite Spurs trophy glory, and he goes on just to say, Chairman Daniel Levy is taking his time to consider his options. Some close to Levy expected him to relent and stand by Postecoglou after he delivered Spurs Europa League, but with every day that passes, it seems he is leaning more towards a change in the dugouts. Levy has been quietly exploring alternatives for some time as the Premier League campaign unravelled. Iriola and Glasner featured, but do not look like they're moving anywhere, leaving Frank and Silva among the Spurs Chiefs' leading options. Both have enjoyed excellent seasons. Both might be tempted across London.
We'll see. We'll see. Look, keep an eye on it. I don't think he's going anywhere at this stage. I hope I'm wrong. This is one where I want to be in that, that proverbial YouTube mud. Please. And big up to Uphill Gardner. Yeah, I do live in London. London is a huge place, my friend. It's a huge place. So for me to get to where I need to get is like an hour travel. Big up. Thanks, everyone. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, guys.